Well, good morning and happy Valentine's Day. So there are tons of books out there, aren't there? Self-help books. But my wife Crystal and I picked five that we thought have helped us and I use in the office. And if you go to her website, Journey to Inner Wisdom, you'll find the links to podcasts and YouTube videos where we discuss the five books. But I'm just going to briefly highlight them here. And obviously, the first one for me is "Getting the Love You Want" by Harville Hendrix and his wife Helena Kelly Hunt. It's the basic textbook I use, but he first wrote the book in 1988, but he sold over 4 million copies of the book, and he's trained about 3,000 of us around the world in 61 countries doing the work, Imago Relationship Therapy. And I'm biased, obviously, but I think it's the best understanding we have of relationships in today's world. And his key insight is simply that imago simply is a Latin word for image. And his key insight is that as kids, and you know how observant kids are. Kids watch their parents, their caregivers, and they form, it's unconscious, an image or an imprint of the person who loves me, who takes care of me, who meets all my needs. And then their critical insight, or I think, is that when you go out looking for a partner, that imprint or image you already have in your head of the person who loves me, who takes care of me, meets all my needs, it plays a critical role in mate selection. All right? And to me, if couples can catch this, get this insight, it just makes puzzling aspects of the relationship make more sense. So, for example, if my wife didn't get certain needs met growing up and then she marries me who can't meet those needs, that causes problems. But as we became more conscious as we did this work, and as I stretched to meet her very legitimate feeling needs, I not only met her needs, but healed a part of me that had been stunted growing up. It really, for me, it really is a win-win. Anyway, that's Getting the Love You Want. So another book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I think I've talked about this too. He likens the way we give and receive love to languages. So if I'm speaking English, you speak French, German, Italian, Spanish, harder to communicate. Not impossible, but harder. And he identifies 5 love languages: quality time, acts of service, words of appreciation, gifts, and physical touch. Now, if you're not speaking each other's love language, you can miscommunicate. And I had a great example in the office, this is a while ago now, but the guy was a hardworking guy. He was building a new house. He was renovating the old house to sell, and he was working a full-time job. That's how he's showing his love, acts of service. What was his wife's primary love language? Quality time. They were miscommunicating. But once they figured that out, she didn't want him to stop working on the houses, but she needed some quality time, and he was very open to do that once he realized he was just really miscommunicating. He was working so hard to show her he loved her, but what she really needed was some of his time. And so that was a great one. Anyway, another one is called Loving Bravely by Alexandra Solomon. And Loving Bravely offers 20 powerful lessons to help you explore and commit to your own emotional and psychological well-being so you can be ready and resilient and confident in love. And the key insight, I think, in her book is that we need to develop relational self-awareness if we want to have a great relationship. For example, rather than be looking for the perfect person, she says, I believe your bravest and best work is to look at yourself, understand yourself, and grow yourself so that you can be that special person. So a lot of it is about self-growth, self-awareness, and being aware of who you are and becoming the best person you can be. It's a good one. The fourth one, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, and I've talked a lot about this, John Gottman's book. And as he says, he's the founder and director of the Gottman Institute, a laboratory in the University of Washington, Seattle, where for 16 years I spearheaded the most extensive and innovative research ever into marriage and divorce. And he says he can claim, a couple is going to divorce with something like 90%, something like that accuracy. But more important is, rather than highlight what marriages don't work, is what makes them do work. And he highlights the 7 principles: enhance your love maps, nurture your fondness and admiration, turn toward each other instead of away, let your partner influence you, solve your solvable problems, overcome gridlock and create shared meaning. So again, I've talked a lot about that, but again, a very worthwhile book. And then the last one is Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. Now, attachment theory grew up out of child development field, attachment theory, and parenting. But they've extended that to relationships and intimate relationships. And so they identify 3 attachment styles. And I think, I'm not an expert on child development, but I think they're the same. The anxious attachment style, living with a sixth sense for danger. The avoidant attachment style, keeping love at arm's length, and the secure attachment style. And their research identifies 50% of relationships are secure, around 20% are anxious, and 25% are avoidant. And then there's a few that fall into a less common category, combination anxious and avoidant. But for me, the most important piece of that book was if people have different attachment styles, how they resolve conflict. And she suggests, or they suggest, show basic concern for the other person's well-being, maintain focus on the problem at hand, refrain from generalizing the conflict, you always, you never, be willing to engage, and effectively communicate feelings and needs. And so there you have it, 5 books, but as I did this, it kept coming back to communication, and so I go back to Harville and Imago Relationship Therapy, and the key skill, which I believe all couples need to learn, is a safe communication process where you can talk without criticizing, listen without judging, and connect through differences. So anyway, have a great Valentine's Day, and just don't make it just one day a year. Give flowers just one day a year, but make it a whole year. Have a great year. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.